Picture this. It's a random Tuesday night, you're scrolling through your banking app on the couch, and boom, another push notification pops up about a looming recession. Look, if you were around back in 2008, you probably remember that eerie feeling all too well, right? The long queues outside failing banks, the daily headlines screaming about Black Monday, and just that terrifying gut-wrenching possibility that the financial systems we literally rely on could just stop working. It's incredibly easy to get swept up in the anxiety of today's economic headlines. But today, we're going to clear away all that financial fog. Welcome to This Explainer. I'm so excited to walk you through a calm, highly actionable playbook to help you not just survive, but eventually profit from the next downturn. And hey, you absolutely do not need to be a math genius or some Wall Street financial wizard to get this. We're going to break it all down simply and visually.
So let's dive right into why you might be feeling so stressed out lately. Fast forward to today, and we're seeing headlines like Meta lays off 10,000 employees via email at 4 a.m. Tech giants are slashing tens of thousands of roles overnight. Living costs, they're at all-time highs, while real wages are just stubbornly stagnant. If you're walking around with this heavy sense of invisible job insecurity, trust me, your anxiety is perfectly rational. Because long before actual layoffs hit a company, that workplace anxiety spreads like wildfire, and people start making really defensive, fear-driven decisions.
Which brings us to the most crucial question. When the next economic crash hits, will you be ready? We've got to pivot right now from feeling anxious to feeling empowered. Even while the stock market hits record highs, the fundamental rule of economics is that markets are cyclical. It is not a question of if a major economic correction happens, it is absolutely a question of when. And being prepared, that is exactly what separates panic from power. To get you prepared, here's our roadmap for today. 1. The macro reality. 2. The engine room. 3. Core priorities. 4. Layoff protocol. 5. Psychology of panic. And 6. The crash dashboard. Let's jump right in.
Section 1. The macro reality. Locating the marker. Why exactly does the economy feel so incredibly fragile right now? Well, it starts with some systemic facts, specifically the silent, ongoing erosion of your currency's value. Get this. Since the creation of the U.S. Federal Reserve back in 1913, the dollar has lost over 90% of its purchasing power. To put that into perspective, what cost just one single dollar a century ago costs over $33 today. This is the invisible inflation tax. It's just quietly eating away at your wealth while you're simply going about your day.
And this brilliantly illustrates an economic principle known as Gresham's law. Basically, it states that bad money drives out good. See, when central banks continuously expand the money supply to rescue markets, the currency itself degrades. And this dynamic, it forces everyday households onto this endless, exhausting treadmill just to maintain their baseline living standards. This is the exact thing creating that workplace anxiety and fragility long before any actual economic crash even makes the evening news.
To show you what that fragility looks like on the ground, over 37% of adults report they would actually struggle to cover an unexpected $400 emergency bill. Think about that. When you lack a financial buffer, a single broken car transmission or a surprise medical bill triggers a massive domino effect of missed payments and high-interest debt. By the way, if this level of clarity is helpful to you and you're enjoying our structured approach here, please take a quick second to like and subscribe to our curious community. It genuinely helps us keep making these explainers for you.
All right, Section 2, the engine room, auditing your finances. So, when panic hits, human instinct screams at us to cut absolutely everything and just go live on beans and rice in a freezing cold room. But we actually need to use what we call the anti-austerity rule. This extreme white-knuckle approach almost always backfires because it creates serious decision fatigue, and that inevitably leads to a massive spending relapse later on. Instead of cutting everything, you want to split your spending into two distinct categories. First, eliminate pure waste. We're talking those unused gym memberships, forgotten software subscriptions, and food waste. Did you know food waste alone costs the average family nearly $3,000 a year? Cutting this frees up cash flow with literally zero emotional sacrifice. On the flip side, we have keep the joy. Does a $5 coffee or a specific streaming service genuinely improve your day and ground your mental health? Keep it. Willpower is a finite resource, guys. You have to protect your joy so you don't have to rely on pure discipline when you're already stressed out. Automate a weekly spending cap, give yourself a guilt-free treat, and just cut the mindless expenses. Moving on to Section 3, your 4 core survival priorities. If an economic crash severely reduces your income, you have to immediately drop the luxury facade and pivot entirely to defending your core survival priorities. Why is this pivot so urgent? Well, behavioral scientists from Harvard and Princeton discovered something fascinating and honestly a bit terrifying called the scarcity tunnel. When your brain enters survival mode over basic necessities like food or making rent, it temporarily drains your mental bandwidth. Financial distress literally reduces your functional IQ by up to 13 points. Skipping meals to save money actually destroys your executive brain function. It's wild.
So to avoid falling into the scarcity tunnel, you need to protect these 4 essentials above absolutely everything else. Number 1, housing, to stop long-term lifestyle destabilization. Number 2, nutritional security, to keep that brain of yours functioning optimally. 3, core utilities, like power, water, heating, and crucially, the internet. In today's world, losing internet access basically prevents you from finding new work. And 4, baseline transport. This is just the minimal cost to get you to income-generating opportunities and back home. Protecting these things aren't luxuries. They are the fundamental tools that protect your brain's ability to solve problems.
Which brings us to Section 4, Strategic Layoff Survival Protocol. I want to approach this part with radical empathy. If you do face a job loss during a market downturn, you have to remember that it is a structural market event. It is not a personal failure. High performers get laid off every single day when companies restructure. If it happens to you, execute this exact 5-step blueprint immediately. Step 1. Calculate your runway. Figure out exactly how many months of cash cushion you actually have. Replacing uncertainty with raw numbers absolutely kills blind panic. Step 2. Cut non-essentials fast to stretch out that runway. Step 3. Apply for government support immediately. Look, unemployment benefits and utility assistance exist for these exact macroeconomic events. Never, ever let pride delay you here, because time is your most valuable asset. Step 4, treat the job search like a real 9-to-5 job with clear hours and high-value applications. And Step 5, protect your daily confidence.
Actually, that last step is so vital it gets its own slide. Your confidence isn't self-care fluff. It directly impacts how you perform. You've got to maintain a consistent morning routine, keep up your exercise, and stay socially connected. Your confidence dictates exactly how you show up and perform in interviews. And hey, if this logical, structured approach to navigating a crisis is giving you some peace of mind today, make sure to hit that subscribe button so we can keep bringing you this kind of empowering clarity.
Section 5, the psychology of panic.
The single most expensive mistake people make during an economic crash is making irreversible, long-term financial moves to solve short-term emotional panic. Neuroeconomic studies actually show our brains process financial loss in the insular cortex. That is the exact same pain center that registers physical injuries. This creates a phenomenon called loss aversion, meaning the psychological pain of losing $1,000 is literally twice as powerful as the pleasure of gaining $1,000. This evolutionary hardwiring tricks so many people into panic selling their investments at the exact bottom of the market.
So when a financial decision feels frantic and irreversible, you just have to pause. Market crashes are temporary historical events. Every single crash in modern history has eventually ended and given way to new growth. Do not pull out your retirement funds early just to alleviate today's panic. You're going to incur massive tax penalties and forfeit decades of compound growth. Just breathe. Remember, this is temporary. And recognize that the bottom of the market is historically the absolute best time to buy assets at a massive discount, setting you up to profit from the upswing.
And finally, Section 6, the dashboard outro, your 5-point crash framework.
You really don't need a complex 50-page economic forecast to survive a downturn. You just need a clear, actionable dashboard to keep you focused. So here are your key takeaways. You might even want to screenshot this. 1. Protect your 4 survival essentials. 2. Preserve cash flow by cutting waste, not your joy. 3. Avoid impulsive, irreversible decisions like panic selling. 4. Review your finances weekly. And 5. Only adjust your plan when the actual facts of your situation change. Remember, your greatest asset isn't your bank balance. It's your ability to remain calm, logical, and adaptable when everyone else is losing their heads. And that is exactly how you survive the crash and profit from the recovery.
So as we wrap up this explainer, I want to turn the floor over to you. What is your absolute #1 strategy for staying calm and spotting opportunities when those economic headlines get really scary? Let me know down in the comments below. I read all of them, and I would love to see how you handle the pressure. Thank you so much for hanging out with me today. Keep using these tools, stay curious, stay resilient, and I will see you next time.